My friend Ty worked at Albertsons and loved it. Ty's friendly demeanor and strong work ethic made Ty a perfect fit for the front end. It wasn't long before Ty was promoted into management. Around that time, I was dealing with the fallout of the pizza place and looking for a new job. Knowing I'd probably love any job Ty loved, I applied and was hired quickly. It was a few weeks before Thanksgiving, and they needed extra help for the holiday rush. I started as a bagger and a cart collector, eager to dive in. I adapted quickly to life at the store. I was attentive to guests and always aimed to be at the top of my game. My time as a bagger was short-lived, though. Just over 6 weeks into the job, I was unexpectedly pushed onto a register with no prior training. It was New Year's Eve and the store was packed. 2 cashiers had called out and the lines just stretched down the aisles. There was no time for hesitation. I just jumped in, figuring I'd learn as I went. My first 2 customers were patient, sensing my newness. I smiled through my nerves, scanning each item carefully. But 5 minutes in, the entire register shut down. Mortified, I apologized over and over as management tried to figure out what had happened. It turned out it wasn't my fault, just a system glitch. Once they fixed it, the guests in line actually cheered. My natural charm helped smooth over the situation, and from that moment on, I embraced my crash course in cashiering. I quickly became a customer favorite. I loved bantering with guests, especially when they were browsing magazines. "Did you see who's on the cover of O magazine?" I'd ask. They'd always glance down, puzzled, before realizing, of course, it was Oprah. It was always Oprah. I'd feign shock and gasp, "Oh, no way, crazy, right?" It never failed to make them laugh. One regular, a woman buying a 13-pack of T-bone steaks, joked about the odd number. She figured she'd give the extra one to her dog. Without missing a beat, I grinned and said, "I'll take it." She knew I was joking, laughing as she responded, "We'll see." She gave me a hug and went on her way. Later that night, after my shift had quieted down, she came back. She walked right up to my check stand and asked if I'd eaten yet. I admitted I hadn't, but I was about to go on break. With a smile, she pulled the container out of her purse, not just the extra steak, but mashed potatoes, green beans, and cornbread. I was stunned. I reassured her I'd only been joking earlier when I never actually asked a customer to feed me. She laughed, saying she knew, but that I always made her smile with my jokes and hugs, and she wanted to show her appreciation. My manager, not Ty, was less amused. He came over, scolding me for asking customers for food. Before I could defend myself, the woman turned on him. She got in his face, saying she was perfectly capable of deciding to bring someone dinner and that she was happy to do it. She made sure he let me eat the food instead of throwing it away. To drive the point home, she even accompanied me to the break room, sitting with me a while I ate. As she left, she shot my manager a final stink eye for good measure. That manager had it out for me after that. At one point, he removed me from the register and reassigned me to stock duty, giving my usual position to a cashier named Ashley. We both knew the decision was steeped in sexism, but we didn't have proof. Until one day, he slipped up. He flat out told us stocking is a man's job. That was all we needed. We went straight to the store manager and were immediately reassigned our original roles. Before that happened, though, I had one particularly disastrous shift in stock. I was supposed to be using a pallet jack to bring out merchandise, but no one had ever trained me on how to use one. Instead, I improvised, loading up grocery carts and shuttling items to the floor manually. It was wildly inefficient, and I unknowingly made everyone's job harder. When I found out later that I should have been trained, I wasn't even surprised. Despite the workplace politics, I had incredible friendships there. One of my favorite coworkers was Amapreet, a gorgeous woman who consistently got hit on by older men of Indian descent. They never seemed to take no for an answer, which infuriated her. So we devised a plan. We both wore rings on our wedding fingers. If a guy got too flirty, she'd point to the ring. If he got really aggressive, she'd point to me and declare, "My husband, that's what a gay friend is for." Her sister, Gunpreet, was hired not long after, and the 3 of us became inseparable. One day, they invited me over for dinner to meet their family. I didn't drive, so they picked me up and I walked into one of the most beautiful houses that I've ever seen. Their parents were passionate about art, and the whole place felt like a museum. Over dinner, their mom casually asked if I ever planned on getting married. At the time, gay marriage was still illegal in California, so I replied coyly, if it ever becomes legal. She frowned. No, to a woman. That set Gunpreet off. She reminded her mom firmly that I was gay. Their mom waved her off. I know, he doesn't have to have sex with her. We all burst out laughing while Amapreet goaded, Mom, please stop trying to marry our friends off to our cousins. It was awkward, hilarious, and weirdly endearing all at once. For a while, everything at work was smooth sailing, but outside of Albertsons, my friendship with Ty was unraveling. The tension bled into our shifts together. Ty hated working the same hours as me, and as my manager, Ty had every reason to keep things professional. But to Ty's credit, Ty never badmouthed me or let our falling out affect my job. Ashley was the first to notice something was off. She didn't pry, just told me, what other people think of you is none of your business. Just keep being the best version of yourself. It was one of the first times someone had looked me in the eyes and told me to focus on me. I threw myself into work, saving every penny to move back to Portland. I walked back home every night at 1 a.m., a 45-minute trek through Fresno. But I didn't mind. I had to get out, and if that meant trudging through the city every night until I could leave for good, so be it. During my time there, I also played matchmaker. Alan and Nikki were both my coworkers, and I encouraged them to go on a date. It didn't take much convincing. They were clearly perfect for each other. Years later, they're still together, married with 2 beautiful kids. When the time came for me to leave, I faced a logistical nightmare. I didn't have an ID. That's a story for another essay. Thankfully, my coworker Erica stepped up. She used her ID to buy my bus ticket, since the only checked IDs at purchase, not at boarding. I still have the ticket stub with her name on it, a reminder of that small but profound act of kindness. Ty didn't say goodbye on our last shift together. I didn't expect Ty to. Ty owed me nothing, but years later we reconciled. When I returned to Fresno for the first time in 14 years, we hugged, laughed, and made sure we'd always be there for each other. Leaving Albertsons was harder than I expected, not just because of Ty, but because of Gunpreet, Erica, Ashley, Alan, and Nikki. They all came to my farewell party. Alan even gifted me lost figurines of Hurley and Locke, plus a Doctor Who collectible, all of which still sit on my mantle. My time at Albertsons was short, but it shaped me. It sharpened my customer service skills, deepened my connections, and introduced me to people who changed my life forever. And honestly, I wouldn't change those memories for anything.